Hello, and welcome to the East Anglia Traditional Music Trust Big Sky Traditions, a podcast where we look at all things music, dance and art from the Big Sky lands of East Anglia. My name is Jake and I'll be hosting this episode, which is part one of a short series looking into the art of step dancing. Before we start, just a little bit of information on me. I'm a sound recordist and I specialise in field recording and location work. I'm also a folk musician, though not a particularly talented one, especially compared to a lot of the people you're going to hear throughout this podcast. My primary instrument is the banjo, and I mostly grew up learning American music. So I'm incredibly keen to learn more about the music and artistic traditions from the part of the world where I'm from, and hopefully find a deeper connection with the landscape I was raised in and the traditions that live on within it. In the coming episodes, I'll be finding out all about step dancing and its roots within East Anglian tradition. To help me through this journey, I'll be meeting up with locals from across the East who have been performing this art form for years and discussing with them about what it is, where it came from, and why they do it, and perhaps even learning to step dance a little bit myself. For this first episode, I sat down with Stephen Matthews and Lennie Whiting for a cup of coffee and a chat in Lennie's kitchen. They've operated as a sort of step dancing duo since the 1990s, with Stephen playing the music and Lennie performing the stepping. They both admit the relationship between the musician and the performer, it's an intimate one, with each party having their own personal favourite opposite to work with. This is very much the case with Stephen and Lennie, both of them still seem to be in musical and rhythmical sync, even when there is no music, something which you'll definitely hear throughout the interview. The music you'll hear throughout this episode as well was kindly provided by the pair of them, featuring singer Ray Hubbard and recorded, edited and mastered by the late John Halliday. It all comes off their CD Horseman's Harvest, which was recorded almost 20 years ago. Anyway, without further ado, here's the interview I conducted in Lennie's kitchen with both of them. Enjoy.
I'm Lennie Whiting, live at Stradbroke. I like to do a bit of step dancing now and again, providing I got a good accordion player.
Yeah, well, I'm Steve Matthews and live in Brum, near Eye. Been playing for about 30 years, and I like playing the melodeon when there's a good step dancer about.
Brilliant. Well, I think what I'd like to start off with, and we'll just sort of, it's a slightly be chronological, I suppose. I'd like to start at the beginning, really. I don't know how far we want to go back to the beginning, but perhaps, Lennie, you could first of all talk about how you first got into step dance and how you learned the moves, and well, not the move, but how you learned about it.
My uncles and that and my cousins were step dancers, and I used to go with my father at different pubs and whatnot and watch them. And because I got it in me, I like the music, to see a bit of action. Yeah, and you just watch our boys and then get up and have a go. First pub I danced in, when I was little, when I might have been about 10, up 8 years. I can't think who was playing it. Could have been Tom Watland, Bruce Wright, Charlie Whiting, or that could have been Cyril Barber. Had to go up here. That was a good wooden floor up here, and about 3 foot underneath it. And Fred Lefty, he's down in Landlord. He played a big piano accordion, but he could step dance. He said to me, you'll be a good step dancer, but you must use your left foot. You're a one-legged step dancer. And I never forgot it, and I altered it. And there ain't many pubs about you I ain't danced in. I know you think I'm being big-headed, but that was all the go then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you went to sort of Dentonville, there'd be Dolly Carter, another good accordion player, piano player and all, Jack Chapman from whatever, another good accordion player. Brandy's Crown, another good pub for music. There was always somebody in there to play and to get a night, didn't you? Might be Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, because I lost a hell of all the Monday mornings in to work with a bad head. Too much beer. But they were good old times, weren't they?
Yeah.
You know, but that's a pity that's fading a little bit because a lot of old dudes are gone now.
Yeah, but I think I first met you because I was trying to buy a cart off you.
Yeah, you want a four-wheel trolley.
Four-wheel trolley, so I come up.
I lived at Brandisham, near the Crown. He knocked on the door because I'd never seen one before either. And, if we don't get the four-wheel trolley, and then we got done, so I went upstairs and got a accordion, they're doing up in the kitchen.
Yeah, we did, we went to look at this trolley, that weren't quite what I wanted. That was a market cart, wasn't it? Four-wheel market cart, I can't remember now.
Yeah, it was a flat trolley.
But, yeah, it was a really nice little thing, but we didn't have the deal anyway. And then I said, didn't I, play the accordion, and you said you got one of yours out from the cupboard, and about 2 hours later I left.
Yeah. Could be the plan.
Yeah. That's right, yeah.
Wonderful, yeah. Moving on a little bit, Stephen, I'm really intrigued about how you got into playing, because I've heard talk that there's kind of old boys and step dancers who wouldn't dance to anyone else apart from your playing.
Yeah, well, you got it.
Well, maybe, I don't know.
When did it start? When did you begin to learn music?
I suppose really my first experience of sort of music in terms of pub music was my grandfather was a pub pianist, and I used to go to the working men's clubs with him as a boy, and it was all Knees Up Mother Brown's and By the Light of the Silvery Moon, but everyone was all singing away, drinking brown ale and eating Savoys and things like that, it's in the East End. Right. So that was my first experience of having a good time in a pub with a bit of music. And then years later, after I'd moved up here, probably late 80s, early 90s, I think I went to the Laxfield Low House. Someone said, you ought to get down there on a Tuesday, because they have a good old deal.
Yeah, they do,
on a Tuesday. And old Jeff was in there, Jeff Williams, playing the button accordion. And I just thought, I can do that. And that's how it happened. I actually picked up an old ancient melodeon. There's an old horseman called Cater, and he died, and the family were having the house cleared, and it was sold. And they were stripping the house, and they found an old cupboard that had been wallpapered over, and inside it were a melodeon and a hammer dulcimer. Really? So they phoned me up because they knew I was playing or wanted to play, and said, do you want to buy it? So I bought the melodeon and the dulcimer for £20, and that was my first accordion.
Wow!
And it was a knackered old thing, First World War. I had to put plasters over the bellows to keep the air in. And then I bought like a 4-stop or something like that, and then so I hooked up with a fellow called Jeff Williams who lived in Cratfield, who was a wagon builder and a wheelwright, little Essex fella. Hell of a short temper, mad whiskey drinking lunatic.
Little chap,
he was, he's a good old boy. But I used to play with him in the Low House on a Tuesday, whirling the Swan. Old Colin Watlin, who was the landlord of the Swan at the time, I was going back 30 years, I guess, said, heard us playing there one day, and he said, I'll tell you what, I'll play here twice a month on a Saturday night, I'll give you 20 quid each. Much beer as you can drink, so we did that for 2 or 3 years. And old Font Watlin, who was like the king of the accordion players, lived in Worthing, and that was his pub. He got the right hump with us, because we went in there every Saturday night and played, and Font used to join in, but it was absolutely brilliant, because it was a proper old-fashioned pub, and everyone in there, that would be absolutely packed. That was in the days when people were smoking, and your eyes were just streaming, because everyone was fagging it, and the windows weren't open in the middle of winter. But all the company knew about music, or horses, or lurcher dogs, or whatever, and it was the place to play.
It's a rum good night out then, and you got the right people in the right place in you.
Yeah.
A good floor. Brick floor.
Brick floor, you can step dance.
A floor is important for step dancing then.
Well, that is really.
Yeah, you can't step dance in a pub with a carpet. Well, what people have to do today, they have to bring a board, step dancing board, a bit of ply cut out with a handle on. You plonk it on the floor and step dance on that. Because if it's a carpet, you can't step dance. But traditionally, a stone floor. Traditionally, people would have danced on a stone floor, wouldn't they? Or boards.
Yes, because some of them had hobnail boots, irons in there.
Yeah. And you just say you don't wear like tap shoes or anything like that.
A lot of people do now.
Yeah.
Really?
A lot of people, wear taps,
But you shouldn't. But if you're doing proper traditional Norfolk and Suffolk tap dance, you just wear dealer boots, wouldn't you? Or just ordinary shoes.
Yeah, ordinary shoes. Leather sole shoes.
Yeah. With a good heel, you can get a nice...
Bring the heel in, you kind of come in with it.
Yeah. And if you had to describe what step dancing is, if someone never heard of it before, how would you describe step dancing?
Well, if you've got a good accordion player and playing the right tune, you try and use your feet like a set of drums, playing the drums. Tap the tune with the feet. There's no set step.
Right.
There's different action in the step. you know.
Right, so there's no set moves so much, it's more
No,
style.
so you keep in tune with the tune, in time with your tune. If you're different, you might not follow me what I mean. But,
someone like Percy, he would if the dancer knew the tune, if Percy knew the tune, he'd virtually play every note with his feet, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
And he'd put little triplets in and go,
Yeah.
whereas other people were a bit more just follow the tune, and Percy was really stylish, wasn't he? And,
So is there set tunes then that you dance to when you're doing step dancing? Is there a set way of doing
different
it?
people have different. I like Pigeon on the Gate. For his big jaggy trousers, they on bending before we send him.
Red Wing Polka.
Huh?
Red Wing Polka.
That's it, yeah, got it. I can't think of people's names so well now. Yeah, it's different.
But Pigeon on the Gate is the one that most people used to dance to.
Yeah, that is
Right.
a sort of Suffolk favourite, and then a lot of the Norfolk people play
Yeah,
it.
Pigeon on the Gate, very popular.
But a lot of them up in Norfolk play that a little too steady. You know, you don't want the speed on now, don't you? That's all depends what you like, don't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing that's very important about playing the step dance, and you've got to lift the dancer, haven't you? You know,
Yeah.
if you're plodding along, it doesn't inspire the dancer. You want to play probably slightly quicker than the dancer can actually dance.
There's a bit of go, so they got a bit of go in it, action.
Yeah. I used to play Helen Speed for you, didn't I? First of all, we used to do Pigeon on the Gate.
Yeah.
Couldn't see your feet move, and sparks flying everywhere. Yeah, certainly a Pigeon. I get polkas, Red Wing Polka, old Joe, the boat's going over. People waltzers, old Mo dances to Peggy O'Neill, doesn't he? So he'll do 3-4 times.
Really? So it's not just 4/4 then? You
can play, you can step dance to a waltz, can't you? Probably hornpipes, polkas and waltzes. Probably to a march as well, but you can't really dance to jigs. People do step dance to jigs, but not around here, do they? That's mainly hornpipes and polkas, really.
Yeah, so something with a little bit of go and a bit of kick, you know.
Yeah.
Sort of make you feel a bit like it.
As you say, people had their favourite sort of tunes, didn't they? But,
yeah.
And Scotland the Brave, people dance to Scotland the Brave, you know.
You see, that's got a bit of go, you let your feet go, can't you?
Yeah. Especially after a few beers.
Especially after a few beers and brandy, what's your chest. 3 parts to win, you don't know how you're doing.
It does sound like the sort
of... But that good night, everybody was in the same mood, you say, singing, and big people get up and have a waltz, wouldn't they? And things like that, somebody give a song.
Or people get up and dance the polka, which you don't see very often anymore. Couples would get up, wouldn't they, go around and dance the polka. Because essentially that's really what the music is all about, is getting people up to enjoy themselves, isn't it? You know, and sing and dance. And
that was a highlight of the week, wasn't it? They worked hard all week and they enjoyed themselves on a Saturday or Sunday, you know, whatever. But everybody was in the same mind, you see, that was all right.
Talking about sort of step dancing, a lot of step dancers had a bit of a party piece, didn't they? Like Font Watlin, his party piece was to get like a round tray from behind the bar, plonk it on the floor, and he'd play accordion and step dance
at the same time.
Yeah, and he trashed the tray. It would be no good for anything until the time he'd done, wouldn't it? It was out of shape. But that was his totally. Yeah, but that was his party piece.
What was your party piece then?
I don't know.
Lennie.
Just answer him.
One of the funniest things I ever saw, I'm sure there's a photograph of it knocking around somewhere, was I had a flat cart that I wanted to sell. So I took it down to Whirling with Swan on the back of the truck. One Sunday lunchtime, I had a word with everyone, no one was interested. Anyway, we all had a few beers and it was time to go, and old Dusty Smith and Percy said, let's get up on the back of that old flatbed and have a step dance. So they all climbed up on my truck onto the flatbed trolley, and it was James Abbott, Dusty Smith, and Percy, all me playing on the floor, and them all step dancing on the top of the car on the truck.
Yeah.
Things you do when you had a few beers.
That sold the car.
The whole thing was going up and down. The springs were going to break, you know.
There's some good singers doing them. That's a good old
Really?
Yeah.
Wasn't there?
Yeah. Some
Yeah,
great
good old
singers.
fashioned song with a story to them and all sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
Right. There's stories behind the songs that used to get sung then.
Yeah.
Right.
Different. Well, it's like an old farmer in Cheshire whose daughter to the market would go, thinking that no one would betray her, for she oft times
An old farmer in Cheshire, whose daughter to market would go, and thinking that no one would betray her, for she oft times that way did go, for she oft times that way did go. She then met an unruly highwayman, 2 pistols he drew from his breast. Pray hand me your money, your clothing, or else you will die in distress. Or else you will die in distress. She put her left foot in the stirrup, and she mounted her horse like a man. Over hedges and ditches she galloped, crying, catch me a rogue if you can. Crying, catch me a rogue if you can. She led the grey mare in the stable, and spread the white cloth on the floor. She counted her money twice over, till she'd counted 10,000 or more. Till she'd counted 10,000 or more. And now she's got a grand carriage to ride in, with a footman to sit by her side, and servants to wait at the table, and a nurse for a dear little child, and a nurse for her dear little child.
That's a story. She got ambushed, interfered with, got on the horse with nothing on. She got robbed, went on and to her father's house. Yeah, that's a good story. That's another one.
Yeah, I mean that's an old song. That's about highwaymen, isn't it? So it's about a highwayman.
Highwayman, yeah.
You know, so that must go back to the 80s. You learnt that from your grandfather, did you? Or?
Yeah, my grandfather,
really?
my old chap had sort of got. My old chap was a reasonably good singer. You know, he liked the song. His favourite song was "If You Ever Go Across the Sea to Ireland." Right. He liked that, but you don't always take notice of these songs. I used to sit and do them around the fire at night. We used to have a sing song. If you get all the words, don't you? Pity really, because a lot of people don't know some of them songs. There's like another sad old song. It was a cold and winter's night when my poor mother died. In her last dying moments, sighing out by her side, she kissed me so sweetly and told me to pray. She said she would meet me in heaven someday. Another old-fashioned song, but it's a bit morbid in it. That is, you know. But there you go.
What's it about the night and the?
Ooh. A northern soldier came from the Northlands, came a-wooing and waiting on me. He said he would take me to the Northlands, and there he would marry me. And there he would marry me. But that's a hell of a song, isn't it?
Yeah, about 15 verses.
Yeah,
to it. That's about a night, basically kidnapping a a young girl and
Yeah.
taking her to the coast to kill because he's a serial killer. Basically,
Yeah, that's
quite dark.
Yeah, but she outwits him and drowns him and escapes
Yeah,
with all
she
his.
pushed him into the water and he drowned.
Right.
Yeah, so let it go. For 6 pretty maidens have I drowned it here, and you the 7th shall be, and you the 7th shall be. Yeah, that finish up. She did home to her own father's house.
She gets home to her father's house or castle, and there's a parrot in a cage up in the window, and it starts squawking.
The
She's
parrot been up in his the king been up in his chamber so high, in hearing the parrot did say, what ails you, my pretty Polly, that you prattle so long before day, that you prattle so long before day. Don't prattle, my pretty Polly, no tell no tales of me, for your cage will be lined of the glittering gold, and the door of the best ivory, and the door of the best ivory gentleman.
great song,
That's brilliant.
ancient song. I mean, the origins of that must go back hundreds of years, mustn't it, really?
Well, you can still sing very well, Lennie. I'm very impressed by your singing.
Oh, he got a good voice,
You've got a
Lennie.
lovely voice, yeah.
I can sing if I want the pub cleared.
So, but how did you learn the tune? Because you're kind of an expert and a font of knowledge when it comes to sort of songs that kind of stretch back over periods and have been passed down through the tradition. How did you learn these songs?
Basically, through spending time with the old players. The first man I ever really got to know was a fella called Ted Pask from Hepworth, who was a gamekeeper during, probably in between the wars actually. He was born in about 1911, something like that. And he had a glass eye, big old keeper ring on his finger, neck wrap, proper old legend he was. And I can't think where I met him, but I used to go to his house at Hepworth and just sit there for hours playing, drinking whiskey probably as well, I think I remember. And he had this little chihuahua that used to run around and piss all over the floor. Bloody nuisance. And I just spent hours learning tunes off him, learning a lot of songs off him. And that's how you learn, wasn't it, Lennie?
Well, it was, yeah, but you got a good variety of songs, you have, haven't you? And a lot of tunes from Norfolk and all of that, haven't you? You got a good variety.
Well, you've got to know a lot of tunes, haven't you know, 'cause if you're playing in a pub for 3 hours, I mean, you can press repeat button now and again, but generally you want as many different tunes. But you have like traditions in the singing world, like if you've learnt a song off, say, Ted Chaplin, if he's in the pub, you don't sing his song.
Oh, really?
Otherwise you probably get thick when you ding across the lung, as they say in Norfolk. You didn't sing another man's song.
Right.
If they weren't in the pub, you could sing it. And just hope you didn't come in and then sing it again. Yeah. But so everyone had their own songs, didn't they?
That's right.
Yeah, everyone had their own repertoire of songs. So me, for example, I sing a lot of Ted Chaplin and Tony Harvey songs now because they're not here. But a lot of songs I sung, I learned were off people like Ted, and I've never heard anyone sing the sort of songs he used to sing.
No.
And you just acquire a repertoire, don't you?
Yeah,
really.
Absolutely.
And they're all catchy tunes, but they appeal to you, don't they?
Right.
You pick them up and...
Because generally singers, they'd sing a lot of old songs, like say you'd sing Farmer from Cheshire, and then as the evening progressed, people would want popular songs, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
So they'd be singing musical songs from the First World War, even songs from the charts in the 50s and 60s, because people wanted to... When you've had a few beers, you just want to have a sing-song, don't you?
That's right, yeah.
So it's just basically letting off steam, a lot of it. It's almost like what people do now, and it's like living for the weekend, go out on the Saturday night and get together.
Get full of lager and dance all night, but it was the old way of doing it, wasn't it? If you worked hard all week, Saturday night was the night you went out and enjoyed yourself, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Forgot all your troubles and everything else. When you're free past cut, you don't worry about your holiday by now.
I mean, that's probably why the music had a lot more energy in it than it does when it's recreated. Really? When you recreate it, you just sit and you're just playing the tunes. You're not playing the tunes because you've been working hard 6 days in a row. You want to get pissed up and have a laugh. You're just playing it because you're enjoying the tunes.
Right.
Now I think that's why certainly when I used to play at Whirlingworth, it was just mad, because everyone had been working hard all week and just wanted that to get absolutely slaughtered and make fools of themselves. it was to entertain. You were there in a pub, not because you were playing to yourself in the corner. You were there to entertain, weren't you?
Quite right.
And if you didn't entertain, you didn't last very long. And then you had to play well for step dancers.
Right.
And I guess because I was lucky, because the first person I played for step dancer was Russell.
Yeah.
And he was a brilliant step dancer.
He was good.
And you just you learn. As you say, you got to lift the dancer. So
Yeah.
If you
Set your music to them sort of thing, don't you? And,
yeah.
And is there folk songs about horses, or traditional songs, I should say?
Yeah.
Sort music from East Anglia and from Suffolk that are about horses.
Oh, with Rattling Old Grey Mare, that's what.
Yeah, Tony Harvey used to sing
Tony
that.
Harvey used to
Old
sing
Grey
that.
Mare, Joe the Carter's Lad.
Yeah.
Snap.
There's none compare with Jim the Carter's Lad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I
chorus.
got that wrong, yeah.
It's different.
Yeah. Yeah,
And the
different.
chorus, snap, crack, goes the whip.
Snap, crack, goes me whip, I whistle and I sing. I sit upon me wagon, I'm as happy as a king. For
My horse is always winning.
wielding and I am never sad. There's none that leads a life more gay than Jim the Carter's Lad. That's how it goes.
Yeah, and his various the verses are about him being a carrier, aren't they? My father was a carrier
many years ago. I can't remember
on a
what
Friday
it
off
was.
to market we would go. Sometimes he'd take me with them, particular in the spring. I'd like to sit upon my cart and hear my father sing. Oh, snap, crack, goes the whip,
I whistle and I sing. I sit upon me wagon, I'm as happy as a king. My horses they are willing, for them I'm never sad. There's none that leads a life more gay than Jim the Carter's Lad.
Yeah, you imagine the old cart trotting down the road, you know, to the rhythm of the trot,
That's amazing.
The carrier led the merry chap and I always them contentedly the weather wet to dry. I snap my fingers at the frost and whistle in the rain. I'll brave the storm for many a day and will do so again. Oh, crack, crack goes the whip, I whistle and I sing. I sit upon my wagon, I'm as happy as a king. My horse is always willing and I am never sad. Oh, good leader, life more gay than you, a carrier lad. My father was a carrier 20 years ago. To market on a Friday, almost regular he would go. Sometimes he'd take me with him.
It sounds more like you're moving beyond like a musician and a dancer, and it's almost more like a musician and a percussionist, in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You say you are using your feet as a drum kit, aren't you?
Yeah.
You say, you're tapping out.
Trying to, let's put it that way, try and do it.
But, and going back to the ways of doing it, there is a certain, I call a Suffolk way of moving your feet and lifting your knees and, like you and Russell and Cyril Barber, you can see that you've all come from the same
Same sort of breed.
yeah. Whereas other people, it's completely varies.
Very a bit. Yeah, that's I like to see them. That's nice to see that, man.
But the thing is, if you see nothing but bad step dancers, you don't know what step dancing is. It's only when you've seen a good one like Lennie or Cyril or Russell that you realise actually how good it can be. Because you want the best, don't you?
Yeah.
And I've been lucky to play for the best.
You've been listening to Big Sky Traditions, the East Anglia Traditional Music Trust podcast. Next week we'll be taking a slight deviation from our journey into step dancing, and I'll be chatting with traditional musician and curator of the Music Box Archive, Megan Wisdom, chatting about all things folk and listening to some of her favourite field recordings she has captured. Till then, thank you all for listening, and I'll see you next time.